Good morning, everybody. Welcome on this rather unpleasant looking morning, um, especially after the lovely weather we've just been having. It's good to see everybody this morning. As I say, we're here for our business resilience webinar. And I think we can safely say that things have been a bit tough for businesses, and that's a bit of an understatement. We went through the pandemic. Russia invaded Ukraine. We then had the attendant cost of living crisis, political instability, and now the war between Israel and Hamas. And of course, climate change is sort of winking at us. But this morning, the latest news, CPI inflation is 2.3%. And this could mean there's an interest rate coming in a cut coming in the coming months. The economy is growing by a larger than expected 0.6% in the first quarter, and the signs the labour market is cooling. However, this has been a 4-year inflation crisis, and prices are not falling, but they're just going up at a slower rate. Mortgage rates are not looking pretty, and that sort of obviously knocks onto the rental market as well. Uncertainty is persisting with global conflicts, and trade wars are threatening supply chains. Wage costs are continuing to grow. British Chambers of Commerce surveyed their members recently, and almost half of the people surveyed expect their prices to rise over the next 3 months, with labour cost quoted as the main driver. But it's interesting, with all this talk of things possibly looking up with interest, with inflation at 2.3%, this may bring the general election nearer than we think, with all the uncertainty that will bring. What we do know is that government will be in recess from July to September. So yeah, basically businesses need stability, and this is sort of just what we don't have at present. We need a long-term vision for the UK economy from our politicians, including action on making trade easier, especially with the EU. A lot of that information I got from British Chambers of Commerce, but I think it sums it up quite nicely. I'm really pleased we've got a glittering array of speakers for you this morning. And first up is Alistair Drew-Yeates from Barclays Eagle Labs. Alistair, do you want to take the floor?
Thank you, Sally. Okay, let's share the screen. Da, 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 da. Okay, Sally, perhaps if you could give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen, that'd be wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you everybody for joining. And thank you for inviting me to speak. I'm covering a colleague of mine, Russell, who covers West London, but it's an exciting opportunity for me to step in. I'm a bit old school and prefer to do things face to face, so it's quite fun to do something online for a change, which is weird. It could be we just got out of the pandemic, but anyway. So just to introduce myself, my name's Alistair Drew-Yeates. So I'm from Barclays Eagle Labs. I've been in Barclays for 15 years now, and covered various roles within the bank, from a branch network to relationship management, business banking, and then strategic transformation. And I've been involved in Eagle Labs since its conception. So I'll just touch on what Eagle Labs do in case anyone's not familiar with it. So Eagle Labs is a program that was created by Barclays. Well, it'll be nine years in December, and it was created essentially initially to look 10 years ahead at the bank, see what we're doing, and how do we remain relevant, and how do we continue to support our communities, particularly around our physical spaces, as we've seen the changes in our high streets, as we've seen in our banking halls, with the migration to people shopping online and banking through digital means. So Eagle Labs was created initially to give back to the community, to create a haven for entrepreneurs, innovators to come and bring their ideas to life. 9 years later, we've got 38 physical locations around the UK, and we partner with people now, so they're not just in Barclays sites. And we're funded by the government. And essentially, there's a few things we do. As you saw on the first slide, it said to connect, innovate, and grow. So we run various programs, we run events, and we offer kind of one-to-one mentoring as well. And that will be with colleagues like myself, but also we have a wonderful array of mentors who we work with, from the likes of Cambridge Judge Business School, Codebase, Accelerate Her, as well as others. And afterwards, I will share my details for anyone that wants to connect, because there are as many things that we do. But today I've kind of been asked to talk a little bit about funding, because as it's been mentioned, it's a very difficult time for everyone, and particularly, I guess, the early stage entrepreneurs. We've seen it being increasingly challenging, especially since the UK and Russia war, with VCs and venture capitalists kind of slowing down the number of new investments, pulling back on existing ones, and we're seeing this challenge kind of increasing. So Eagle Labs, in its role to support entrepreneurs, startups, scale-ups, particularly in this space of raising capital, and trying to encourage investment and put companies in front of investors, we've created various programs and activity to support entrepreneurs with this. So I'll touch on it quite lightly, because we could go quite in depth. But just to kind of step back a bit, the particular landscape that Eagle Labs really focuses in is within the technology space. So companies that are really digital first, perhaps companies that work with artificial intelligence, perhaps a lot of climate tech that we're seeing as well as the kind of evolution in health and medicine through the advancement of technology. And traditionally we see the investment journey is very different from perhaps when I joined the bank 15 years ago, when you could still kind of ask your bank manager and have quite a personal interaction, and they knew you, they understood how you manage your money, and they almost had a level of authority to be able to sign things off locally, shall we say. Now with the technology companies and platforms, it's very different from traditional business. Generally, it can take sometimes years to develop a product, maybe a piece of software. And of course, you're not going to be generating any revenue for perhaps sometimes a year, 2 years, sometimes more, depending on the complexity. So traditional investment vehicles don't work, because of course they need to see the debt is being able to be serviceable, or if you're not generating any revenue, it's not. And then we can't lend money because of regulations and things like that. So within the startup and the scale up world, it's kind of there's different stages that you go through. And as you can see on the screen, we have pre-seed, which is kind of, we have an idea. So Sally and I come up with this new idea for her ice cream brand that she mentioned earlier. And first of all, we might ask families and friends, and some say false is the other one that sometimes people say. And that's really just initial money just to get our idea off the ground, perhaps to validate the idea. And then you have the likes of the angel investors that perhaps, individuals that want to make some investments, there's various benefits to that, which we can discuss kind of on a one-to-one basis. And then it gets a little bit more serious around the Series A, where you have venture capitalist firms, and you might have family offices that will raise, generally when you're raising slightly more, usually ticket sizes above 1 million, but they do vary depending on the industry and the stage and the sector, etc. And obviously that then matures into what we say Series A, B, C, and we can talk hundreds of millions when we get to that stage. At the early stages of the journey for an entrepreneur, perhaps Sally and I, who don't really know where to begin or where to start, and we think, well, Alistair, look, a venture capitalist sounds great, perhaps in 5 years' time when we're at a different stage, but we just need to know where we should raise money. You said the bank can't do it. I'm sure my other bank can't do it. So what Barclays did, we looked at this landscape, and we worked with one of our partners, Capital Enterprise, and we developed a program, or a number of programs, to kind of support this journey. And the first program I'll just touch on is called Funding Readiness. And Funding Readiness is probably our most popular program that we deliver, and we deliver circa 14 programs. And Funding Readiness is exactly that. It's Alistair and Sally have an idea. we need to raise some money, but we're not sure where and we're not sure how. So it takes you on this journey to understand the funding landscape in more detail. And that could be everything for why do you need angel investors? Perhaps there's grants, government grants from Innovate UK. Perhaps we don't need to take money from private individuals and we can get it from other sources. And there's many benefits to doing this. But then you have the challenge of, well, a grant sounds great, Alistair, so I don't have to pay back the money, but I don't have any experience in writing a grant. What does that process look like? So this program really takes people through that journey to say, well, these are kind of the various grants that are available, and here's how you put forward a grant application. And then on the flip side, you say, well, actually, we want to raise it through some angel investors. You know, we think we have some friends that might be interested, but we need to put our business idea forward. How do we do that in the most cohesive manner where we can convince them with kind of a balanced argument, shall we say? And essentially, through this program, they will take you right through the steps of what that journey looks like, how you can get yourself investor ready. How do you put together your business model, your financial models, and then how do you then wrap it around a beautiful kind of pitch deck, and also prepare you to deliver your pitch, because it might be somewhat simple to create something that reads very nicely, but then to get up on stage or in front of investors, it's a different ball game. So that program is really there to kind of hold your hand through that journey, and it branches off in various directions depending on the industry sector and things like that. So that journey is, like I said, it is one of our most subscribed programs. It's open to everybody, as is all of the Eagle Labs activity. Although yes, we are Barclays Bank, it's not a condition of any of our activity to be a Barclays banking customer, which it is amazing. We're here to support the UK economy as a whole. Now, the second program that we run, it's kind of really dedicated to funding, is called Global Connect. And this one's slightly different. Some people say that the UK investor scene, we're quite conservative in how we invest, which it seems to be very true. However, our friends across the pond in the US live the American dream, and tend to I would say throw money at companies, but some have said it's a lot easier to get investment depending on the industry sector in the US. Or perhaps Sally and I are looking to go into the US market, and we think actually it makes more sense for us to raise money in the US, because actually we're going to set up a factory and a distribution in the US, and we need support of our investors there, because they're going to be on the ground, perhaps even have connections into the industry we're going to, say retailers. So Global Connect was created with one of our partners called Panache Ventures, and it specifically looks at when you're raising money in Silicon Valley. So we know Silicon Valley, in terms of the technology scene, is probably one of the biggest hubs within the world. But the way in which you raise money is very different. We might say the etiquette by which you engage with investors is very, very different. So there's the risk that if Sally and I just jumped on a plane, thinking that we're going to go and, with our wonderful deck and pitch, and yeah, we're going to win over their hearts and mind. But actually, it's not quite so simple. There's local nuances, shall we say. So Global Connect is run by Panache Ventures, as I mentioned, and they're a company that are based in the US, and as well as I think they've got a team in Canada as well, and they've got years of experience. They also have investment funds themselves, so they're underground. They know how it works. They've got the connections. So what they do through that program is they will take you through the program and explain to you what to do, and more importantly, what not to do in order to increase your chances. And both of these programs, Funding Readiness and Global Connect, are virtual. They do have an element that is in person. It depends on location and things like that. So Funding Readiness, quite a wide net that filters down to be more bespoke to your individual journey. And then Global Connect is, we're looking to raise money in the US market, specifically Silicon Valley, where we know there's a strong tech scene. how do we do it? So there are two main programs for supporting you in your funding journey as an entrepreneur. And really, these are aimed at anyone from pre-minimum viable product right through to we're an established tech company. We're generating tens of millions of dollars, but now we want to exit and get ready for that stage. What do we do? And really, through the activity we do, we cater for all of that. So just to touch on the funding readiness. So the applications opened 2 days ago, so very nice and timely for this. And then the applications close on the 21st of June. And then you can see the program launches on the 1st of July. So a great opportunity to take advantage of that. And like I say, it's a virtual program, and there's lots of support that you'll get through it. So if anyone is perhaps at an early stage or looking to raise money and wants a little bit more support, please do take advantage of it. Unfortunately, Global Connect, you'll see the application is closed on the 20th yesterday, and it begins next week. But if there is anyone that is perhaps looking to raise money in the US, I'm sure if you get in contact possibly today or tomorrow, I might be able to do my best to kind of to sneak you on the cohort. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to do so. But like I said, these programs, through the support of the government, essentially, we're amplifying the number of programs that we run. So this is the summer season, and then we're releasing an autumnal one as well. So we do these kind of 4 times a year. So if you miss this one or it just doesn't quite fit because of your diary and commitments, don't worry. They'll be released again. And like I say, I'm here so we can continue conversations and have that support. It's not limited to the programs. So yeah. I'm going to be conscious of time because I think I've got 15 minutes and I've probably gone over. On the other side, you've done your pitch deck. You need to get in front of investors. How do you do that? So Barclays created something called the Barclays Demo Directory, which is a platform which allows you as a company to showcase what you're doing with the hope of attracting investors to raise capital. So there's 2 sides. There's the founder side. I want to raise money, and you create a login. It's free to use. We don't take any equity, like I say, and we will put it in front of investors. So then on the other side, if you're an investor, perhaps on the call, or an angel investor, then you can also sign up as an investor, and then you'll be able to see an array of startups in various industries. And essentially all we do is present you, and then you make the connection yourselves. So it's quite a hands-off approach just because we have to be careful with the regulators, but a really great platform and initiative to look into. I'll probably leave it there and try and keep it timely. So you see my email address is here. It's just alistair.drew-yeates@barclays.com. Or please do give me a call. Like I say, I say there's no school like the old school. So don't fear, you can pick up the phone and we can arrange a meeting. Or there's this kind of QR code from Google, which if you scan that, you'll be able to complete a form just to capture some very light details, and that will come directly through to my inbox as well. So once we're having a conversation, then we can arrange a time to either meet in person or virtually, whatever suits you. Because as I mentioned, there's various things we do. So I'd love to be able to support you on your journey. I shall leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Alistair. Thank you. I think we're going to take questions at the end, which Alan, our CEO, who is on the call as well, he will be sort of fielding. Right, next up, we have Jan Doskar from Thames Credit Union, who's going to explain what a credit union does and how it can help you and your business. Jan, over to you.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. So this is going to be fairly straightforward, simpler. my name is Doskar, as I mentioned. I've been in banking for about 20 years, and then with Visa International and various other companies. And now I'm semi-retired, so I'm trying to help out local community and underprivileged people. And what Sally mentioned earlier on about the outline of the economy, I think I could add to that 1 in 4 employees lose sleep over money worries, and 45% of staff admitted that they have run out of money before payday. So another statistic that was done by the Bank of England in the 4th quarter of 2023 reveals that the number of credit union members in Britain has increased to over 32,000 new members. And in January 24, they've identified that 1 in 9, i.e. 5.9 million people, had no disposable income. And I mean, these are various terrible statistics, and this is where credit unions help out. And so I'm going to talk today about what is credit union, a little bit about history, about ourselves and where we are, whom do we work with, who are our partners. Payroll loans are very important, and this is something that we do with the partners, and savings. It's not just loans, but savings as well. We are a not-for-profit, member-owned financial organization. So unlike banks and other financial institutions, the depositors are the members. We are strictly regulated, and very credit unions are much bigger in North America than they are in the UK, but we are growing, and we are throughout Europe. Thames Bank Credit Union was founded about 2005, mostly through Hounslow, London Borough of Hounslow staff, and in 2007 we have started increasing our size to operate in 6 different boroughs that you can see on the presentation, and these areas are called common bonds, so we are licensed to operate in those, and that means that as long as the employer or the employee or the incumbent lives in one of these boroughs, then you're eligible to join us. As I mentioned, we are regulated by Prudential Regulation Authority and regulated by Financial Conduct Authority, and your deposits are guaranteed up to 85,000, so we are very safe. We encourage junior saving, and we encourage also other types of savings, and it is really savings and loans, so it's kind of flexible. One of the key things we try to do is to keep away, especially people that have financial problems, from face-to-face lenders, i.e. loan sharks, and sometimes we incentivize this as well. One of the most popular products in the community is, for us, is child benefit loans, but we also do home improvement, consolidation loans, and various others. So my purpose is to publicize this and make you aware that we can help you, your employees, and all of you. We do declare dividends sometimes. We have done so last year and also a couple of years before. But the main part is that we provide affordable loans. These are some of our partners. What we are looking for really is larger employers. So obviously the councils like London Borough of Hounslow, London Borough of Richmond, Richmond Housing Partnership. We have just started negotiating, talking to them. I've spoken to Spurthorne and various other organizations in the 6 boroughs that I mentioned. But I would be very happy to talk also to various companies, whether it's BP, hospitals, or Barclays, organization or subsidy, whatever, anybody that has employees. So you can become a member of partners. You can consider also to become a director. We are constantly looking for new blood, new people, new ideas, and you can help with referrals, and we have incentives for that. So I was conscious that I've got only a few minutes to do the presentation, so I'll run through that very quickly. But you have my contact details here. We are very, very efficient. We operate through third-party processing, and that admin at Thames Bank would take you to CUS Credit Union Solutions, who do all the processing for us. So we are really non-executive directors that direct the company forward. So that's probably all from me. If you have any questions, please come back to me, and I hope you find this interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. Some sobering facts when you started your presentation. I think things are very tough for people out there at the moment. Our next speakers are, it's a double act, Veronica Andolfi and Alessia Tavoletti from Thai UK. Veronica and Alessia, who's going to speak first? You're going to do it together.
I'm going to be first. So thank you, Sally, for your introduction, and good morning, everyone. I am Alessia, and I work as Director of Operations at Thai UK. The name Thai stands for Think About It. And we are a consultancy company for small and medium enterprises in the UK and abroad. And we are mainly focused on business management and administration, international business development, coaching, and mentoring. To get back to the topic of the webinar, business resilience means being able to adapt to gradual but significant changes that could threaten operations, assets, brand, or even reputation of companies. Consequently, this can mean transforming culture, workplaces, and also workflows by reviewing business processes and operations, or by investing in new collaboration tools and technologies, and by evolving in response to the new needs of consumers. So it turns out that creating a business resilience plan is essential for any organization looking to ensure its long-term success. Actually, we strongly believe that nowadays it's really easy for a business to get overwhelmed among a marketplace which is driven by innovation, globalization, and ever-changing business models. And this is exactly the reason why we recommend to rely on external business professionals that can support corporate leadership to create a business resilience plan with the right methodology and with a strategic approach that consider a multitude of internal and external factors. They include understanding and even aligning with the new needs of consumers, maintaining consistent and high quality brand experiences, and also reviewing and responding to the new market trends. A resilient brand could be seen like a magnet because it attracts the right talent, it fuels product development, paving the way for expansion into new markets. And This robustness is also reflected in the retention of customers, in the stabilization of sales, and in the enhancement of customers' willingness to pay premium prices. Also, a resilient brand is able to adjust to changing circumstances. For example, that includes adapting processes, adjusting budgets, and also responding to the new regulations or the new market trends. This is why an external advisor can really make a difference. And in this regard, I would like to involve our co-founder in the discussion. So let me introduce you, Veronica.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Sally and Alan, for this opportunity. That's very helpful for nowadays for the companies, SMEs, and then all the big ecosystem in UK. I'm Veronica. I'm a business mentor over 6 years for UK government schemes and for other organizations, external and internal. I'm co-founder of Thai UK at the moment, and we are a huge team in the UK and all Europe and outside Europe, so Africa, India, and America as well. What we believe that there's a big challenge for companies nowadays, and then not just for business itself, how you set up, how you have your cash flow ready. As business resilience is the concept is not describe the state, but is dynamic. So how you able to adapt yourself and how you react of the challenge nowadays. So that is the real crucial element for mentoring, for example, and coaching or the boarding director. We believe that the strategic management and business planning as professional consultancy and mentoring as well are essential, and especially for resilience or the SMEs. I used to work for many companies from startups stage to the middle stage. And then always the big struggle is how you can manage, how you can adapt yourself in any kind of challenging. Innovative methods, they are really important. For example, alternative working methodology is efficiency inside the company. So what we do in Thai UK, for example, we are very narrow and specific team on the mentoring, but advisor as well. We define procedure for staff, for all the business itself with hands-on. So we don't try to put the companies and then the founders in a scheme, but we try to understand each other and which kind of skills and then gaps they are to improve or they are to manage. We have process with the efficiency result, so we know exactly and we do exactly in the right time with founder and the team, eventually a program or the mentoring, and then a program or the business resilience inside the business. For SMEs nowadays is really important to have productivity and have an environment, a good and stable environment to grow. So all the cycle, all the cost, so it's all relating to how the business respond at this kind of big question. We have, as Thai, we have an international hub. So we connect the UK with abroad, and then in order to support companies, diversity, inclusion in the global market. And lastly, we have mentoring program in any kind of way you want. So in a package, in way to just consulting, And then we have just relating to all the management inside the company. So we are we are 4 SMEs in the UK. Yes, if you want to share, Alessia, the page, so in any kind of way you can contact us. We have all the core business, so the business management, international business development, and coaching mentoring. Wherever you want, we have free 45, 50 minutes or the business check, health check. So we do together all the challenging, and then how we adapt our technique with your business. So please get in touch, and then you have all the details here, or you can contact me directly by email, by LinkedIn, wherever you want is more comfortable for you.
Thank you very much indeed, Veronica and Alessia. Thank you. I'm aware of time because we're due to finish at 11, but I think yeah, we've got plenty of time. Our next speaker is Jerry Bridge-Butler from who's an IP patent attorney. This leads on quite nicely for one of the slides which Alistair had, and he had one of his slides that mentioned exit strategy. So Jerry, do you want to tell us a bit about what we can do?
Thank you, Sally. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for everybody for attending today. Yes, I'm Jerry Bridge-Butler. I'm a chartered patent attorney and a chartered trademark attorney and a partner at Barron Warren Redfern. We're a medium-sized IP firm of patent and trademark attorneys. We've got offices in Brentford and in Slough. Our office in Brentford is well located for the chambers. We're in the building right next to Glaxo, so on the A4. Very easy to come to us. Our doors are always open. We've got a big car park, so we welcome all comers. As I said, we're about a medium-sized firm. We've been going for nearly 200 years, started in 1830, so we've been around a while. Currently, our client base is very wide. We represent some very large international clients with all the particular needs that they have, but also a lot of medium and small-sized companies in the UK. And what we're looking to do is to build our client base in the West London area, and in particular startup companies or companies that are already in existence, anybody who needs anything to do with intellectual property. So that would be a company that was starting out with something new, or an existing company that was going into a new area, new branding, new products, things like that, where you need to be considering your IP. So coming back to this question about business resilience, it is true to say that if you engage with the intellectual property system and you protect your ideas using intellectual property registrations, then you absolutely add resilience to your business. You add resilience, your business becomes maintainable, and more importantly, it becomes valuable. And I'll come on to that again in a second. But perhaps conversely, it's also true to say that if you don't engage with the IP system, if you ignore it, or you think it's something for another day, then you are making yourself very, very vulnerable, and you're not adding value, and your business can be very weak. So it's not really something you can ignore or think, well, that's not really something that I have to worry about. Every business that's engaged in commercial activity needs to think about its IP. And we're here to help you with all those things and to guide you through it. So why does IP make your business resilient? Well, primarily, intellectual property protection gives you the power to prevent people copying you. So if you think about that in a wide sense, your business is going to be a lot more successful if you can be the only one selling a particular product, whether that be a particular invention, a particular design, or using your branding. If people start copying you, then you lack that resilience. So there's the basic forms of IP that we can help you with all across the whole spectrum. So we're patent attorneys, so anyone with any inventions that need to be protected, we can prepare and file patent applications for you in the UK and abroad, do all that stuff. With the branding, we're chartered trademark attorneys as well, so we can help you choose branding, we can help you protect it in the right kind of way in the UK, Europe, and all over the world, wherever you're trading, to make sure you get that right protection in place so you can stop people copying you. There's also product designs, which can be protected with what are called registered designs, and there are also some background laws which provide a certain amount of protection for that. So anyone who's making any product where the aesthetics is of any importance, which is pretty much any product you can think of. If you're making a product which is attractive to make people want to buy it, and that's something you want to protect because you don't want people to copy that. We also can deal with any copyright issues. So media companies that are involved in any kind of media, so it's publishing, photographers, film projects, you need to know about copyright. You need to have the copyright licenses in place. You need to, if you're assigning licensing stuff, you need that kind of assistance. We're there to help you. So it's all about preventing the damage that can occur to you through being copied. You don't want that to happen. And the next thing that's important about engaging with IP is that it builds resilience against being sued yourself. It may not be the case that you have anything that you can protect. You may not have a new invention, you may not have new brands, but you don't want to be a business that suddenly gets a letter one day that says, you're infringing my IP. I'm a big aggressive American company and I'm going to sue you. That can happen if you don't engage with the system, if you don't search to find out what patents other people have, what trademark registrations other people have. You can't just launch a brand without checking. You can't launch a product without checking. So engaging with the system, having IP attorneys on speed dial, that's what we like. We like our clients to have us on speed dial to ask any questions. It comes up all the time. Can you check this product and make sure it's going to be okay? You need to be thinking about those kinds of things whenever anything new is coming up. Coming back to the point about Sally's ice cream brand and what Alistair was saying, the thing that comes up more and more these days, and I think it's much more at the forefront of everybody's thinking now, is not really using IP to specifically prevent copying, but to add the commercial value. The potential power you have because you have the IP is the potential to have exclusivity in the market, and that's the value that investors are looking at, or anyone who is thinking about an exit strategy. The purchaser is going to want to see that IP in place. It's one of the very important ducks in a row that diligence lawyers are going to look for. If you don't have the trademarks registered, if Sally hasn't registered her ice cream brand, then the company's not really worth anything at all, because why would you invest in it if you could just copy it? And if you had, product designs, if you had inventions associated with it, if you came up with a fantastic new ice cream maker, happened to work for a company that makes ice cream makers, fascinating topic. If you happen to have that, again, if you're looking to exit, then you need to have those patents in place. And it's all about adding value. And that seems to be at the forefront of everything. And so many of the clients that come to us now are new businesses whose business model is entirely based around the exit strategy at the end. And that is exactly what Alistair showed on his slide. You have these various stages you go through. And if you want to get to that exit stage, then you need to have the IP. It's got to be all very, very good at that point. But you've got to think about it right at the beginning. Before you even get onto Alistair's slide, you've got to be thinking about it. Because a lot of the time with a lot of this stuff, you lose the opportunity to protect it if you don't do it at the beginning. And when it comes to avoiding issues with other rights owners, you need to be thinking about it at the beginning. So that's why you need to come and talk to us or another firm of attorneys to discuss your business plans and to discuss how you're going to protect all of this. And to help with that, we have what we call the IP roadmap. So the concept is that a client will come to us, we'll talk to you about your business, find out what you do, what you plan to do, and we'll create this roadmap for you. And it'll be a plan. It'll have various staging posts on it that'll say you need to take this action at this time. It's going to cost you this much. And then at a future point, you're going to have to do this. And at a future point, you're going to have to do that. And if you get to the end, you will have all that valuable IP in place. And as part of that, we can do audits of the company. So anyone can come to us and say, well, this is where I'm at now. Can you please help me to understand what I need to be doing? So that's all wrapped up in something called an audit. We can also get match funding for that from the government with their IP audit scheme. We can talk to you about budgets. We can set a budget for you. We can set timescales, and we can tell you what actions need to be taken. Finally, I just also mentioned that we do offer all new clients 1 hour free consultation. So if anybody in West London Chambers area wants to come talk to us, it doesn't cost you anything. We can set up a phone call, video call, you can come and see us in our offices and we can talk to you about your business. And then we can explain about things that you might want to do. Maybe you don't need to do anything right now, maybe you do in the future, but it's important to set up a relationship, set up a contact so that we're here for you if you need us in the future. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't unmute myself. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Jerry. I'm so enjoying our ice cream idea. What I say about these webinars, they sort of give you a taster of the pitfalls and what you can do to avoid them. And I think all our speakers have sort of have helped us with that. Now, Alan is with us, but does have to leave on the dot of 11. And Alan always has lots of questions. Alan.
Wow, here I go.
There are also some questions in the chat box, so just to let you know.
Okay, so let me put a couple of points out there, first of all. Ice cream, what a wonderful idea. It's great for the summer, but if you're running a business, you want something that runs all year round. So don't let your business melt in your hands because you don't have enough money for it, first of all. Go to the bank or go to any credit facility, not just a bank, and talk to them about your business, because you might just get a really good reaction, and they're used to seeing businesses regularly. Talk through your business plans with them. You'll be amazed at how much a bank or a credit union will sit down and listen to what you have to say. But it's also really important to go along and get an IP check. It's a bit like going to the doctors. You want to get a health check occasionally, or you want to make sure that you actually own your own business. It's not just, I've got a clever idea in a business, so I'm going to start. Somebody else could be doing that. And as has been quite rightly pointed out, you could have a legal letter arrive and suddenly your whole business is worth nothing. Then what do? Go along to your bank and say, well, thanks very much. You've loaned me all this money, but I've now got to shut down my business because I can't trade. And how much does it cost for that IP health check? It's free. So go along and have a talk to these really key people. And if you want to grow internationally and you want advice, think about it, and talk to ourselves at the Chamber as well. A question I wanted to ask a lot of the people in the audience today, please try and press your feedback buttons. Who thinks that interest rates are going to be going down in the next 2 months? There's a lot of discussion about it. And who also thinks that we'll see an election before October, as Sally's raised? Please put your comments in the chat box. I'd be interested to get a feedback from you. Did you say we've got some questions?
There was one question in the chat box. Hold on. Oh, now I can't open. Here it is. Yes, from Elsa. And it's a question to Alistair. Something about, are there any businesses you don't help? Here we go. Are there any types of business that cannot be supported?
Hi, Elsa. So, like I say, the Equalize program is just so vast. I'd like to think we could help every business. There are some programs that are that are quite niche. So, for example, we have a female founder program. I would probably struggle to get on that one with my ice cream business. But generally, no, we support various companies at various stages. Like I said, I guess the programs are really geared up towards software-based companies, but that's not to say that we don't have means to support more traditional businesses. And of course, yes, I'm from Eagle Labs, but I'm a Barclays employee and I work alongside our other colleagues as well. So if I can't help you, then I'm sure I have someone that can. So, I'm always happy to speak to anyone, to be honest. And so, yeah, I think I've sent a LinkedIn request already. So please feel free to connect. Thank you.
Brilliant. There was a question from one of our participants, registrants before the event. And this is about cybersecurity and data privacy. How best to tackle data privacy and cybersecurity issues to achieve business resilience? Alistair, have you any thoughts on that one?
So cybersecurity, obviously from the bank's perspective, is huge. And for a number of years now, we've had a team that have kind of been dedicated to kind of run digital sessions and in-person sessions to really help protect you. I think for businesses, it was pre-Equal Labs in my old role. I heard some real horror stories with hackers kind of taking over funeral parlors and things like that, and really, really dreadful. So in terms of business resilience, yeah, IP, speak to Jerry about the IP, but I would definitely try and find someone to talk about the cybersecurity, because it's extremely important. One, yeah, not only how do you hold your data, but how do you protect it from the hackers? It's super important. I'm happy to direct anyone to our specific channels for support on that if they have specific questions or would like to learn more about how do you stay safe as your business and protect your customers as well.
Veronica and Alessia, do you have anything to add to that? No?
Yeah, for cybersecurity,
Yes.
that is the really important to be training for cybersecurity first, especially for the company, and then see which is the value to identify for the business, for the real business. So I try to say that. So you need to have the conscious first, or the what is the cybersecurity, and then especially they use it a lot in a business. They use a lot of cryptocurrency or crypto conversion. So you need to have this kind of knowledge first and skills before you approach to have any kind of models or action inside the business, I say.
Thank you. Also, the Chamber has run some seminars, webinars in the past on cybersecurity, and they are on our YouTube channel, which, Lisa, are you able to put the YouTube channel link into the chat box? Is that a possibility? That would be really helpful. Alan, any more questions?
It's not so much a question, it's more a statement. We need to let everybody know that we've got the Bank of England coming to talk to us and speak primarily about interest rates for the rest of this year and next year. If you're interested in coming along and hearing what the Bank of England have to say, we're having a seminar live in Springgrove House on the 9th of July. Sally's not going to charge very much money for people to come along. This is where Sally smiles.
Yeah, it's more just to concentrate people's minds. There is a nominal fee, I think, of £7 for Chamber members, and I think it starts at 12 noon and runs to 2 o'clock on the 9th of July at West Thames College, Springgrove House.
So it's very rare that the Bank of England comes out and talks directly to people. If you're a bank, if you're Barclays Bank, if you're Thames Credit Union, and you want to know what the Bank of England are planning to do with interest rates, please come along. If you've got friends in the construction industry, or even if you've just got a mortgage and you want to know how much money you're going to be spending later this year on repaying an interest debt for a mortgage, please come along and listen and hear and ask your questions directly to them. They're very happy to enter into a dialogue. Last time they came along and asked questions about us, interest rates were rising, and they asked people to put their hands up if they thought interest rates were going to go above, inflation was going to go above 10%. And I think the majority of people in the room thought it was going to go up to 12%, which we weren't all far off. So we want a good vote now on interest rates coming down and try and get that push back to the Bank of England so that they can hear what we, the business community, feel needs to happen to interest rates to get our economy moving again.
Well, I think we're going to draw this to a close. It's 10:55, so you've all gained 5 minutes. So use those 5 minutes wisely.
Talk about the business awards coming up, Sally.
Oh, yes.
The business awards.
Yeah, the business awards are open now. They're free for all businesses in Hounslow, Ealing, Hammersmith and Fulham. Any business based in those 3 boroughs can enter. Also, any chamber member can enter wherever you are based. These days, we have chamber members quite far afield. So if you're a chamber member and business in our 3 boroughs, please do enter the business awards. We've been sending information out regularly. There was one final comment from Jerry, who says there won't be an election till after we've won the Euros. So I think on that note, we will leave it, leave it there. Thank you very much to all our speakers. You've got the contact details, and have a good rest of the day. Many thanks.
Win the Euros or be the top European country in the Olympics. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Jan, you wanted to say something quickly. You put a hand up. Oh, no, you're saying goodbye. Sorry, I'm not being very good at this. Lovely. I'll say goodbye. Physically.
Bye.
Go carefully.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.